Okay. You can.
Okay. We will call the meeting of the Irvington Architecture Review Board to order. As is usually the case, we will start with continuations, move on to revisions, if any, and then to new matters. I understand that the 2 Ardsley Avenue continuation is not, will return probably next month. We're not going to hear that tonight because they have no new information. And the revision, ARB 20-43, will not be heard also tonight because they are at the ZBA tomorrow night. So we will start with continuation ARB 20-19, 2 Hancock Place.
If you're here for the application, you can hit the raise hand button and I will promote you to a panelist.
Anybody, Sarah?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I believe everybody is aware that this matter was appealed to the Board of Trustees, and the Board of Trustees overturned the decision of the ARB, and it's has been remanded back to the ARB for final approval. The only thing that I would say is the drawings, and I don't know, Christina, whether you have the drawings, but the drawings still had the fence on it. So I would ask for an approval of the application as amended to remove the fence. Anybody have any questions, concerns?
Plenty. But I won't say anything.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
good evening. I just want to note the plans that were submitted before your board. I think it was discussed at the Board of Trustees meeting when we last appeared before you on July 27th. The only place where the fence appeared was on the site plan, but we've removed it from the architectural. So the fence is not part of the approvals this evening. So again, it shows on the site plan, but we have to come back to you with respect to that fence. So we understand that, but I just wanted to make sure when you say remove from the plan, it's on the site plan, which the planning board had, but in terms of the architectural submissions, the rendering elevations, it was off all that as we submitted back on July 27th.
I will change that to remove from the application.
Yep.
That makes sense? Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. Anybody? Yes, Chris.
Uh,
Yes.
Hi, I'm here. My name's Josepha. I'm here for Christina. She couldn't make it this evening. Did you want to see the drawings? I have them, or is it clear now?
Well, we did see them on I think that the date
Okay.
drawings dated July 6th, I believe. Is that what you have?
July 6th, yes.
Those are the drawings that we're going to approve tonight. Less the fence. Do I have any questions from the board? Since this is not a public hearing, we will not ask for comments from outside the board. I will make a motion to approve the application. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? One opposed? Abstentions? So on a 4-to-1 vote, the application has been approved. Any questions, concerns, issues from anybody, either on the board or on the applicant side?
No, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board.
Thank you. Okay, we're good to go then.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Thank you, you too. Okay, we will move along to new matters. First matter is ARB. We will go in ascending order and by order of the application number. So we'll start at 20-55, 12 Grinnell Street, fence. I believe we have a recusal from the board. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, my property adjoins that property.
Okay. So we're looking at a 4-member panel here. Sarah, if you want to let anybody in, that'd be great.
Oh, sorry, didn't realize I was on mute. There's nobody raising their hand to be promoted to panelist, so I don't think there's anybody here representing the application.
All right, we will go to the next and come back to that one. We will then go to ARB 20-56, 73 Dogwood Lane, siding.
There's somebody here.
Okay. You're on mute, I think. You're on mute.
Sorry. Got it.
All right.
Got
Great.
it. Okay. So yes, I have an application for siding. We live at 73 Dogwood Lane. Our home was built in 1967. We currently have the original cedar shingle shakes on it, which have been painted a few times, but are falling off, and weather and storms are flying them about. We propose to replace it with a hardy plank siding, which, as explained, has many benefits, including fire resistant and resistant to bugs, and certainly looks more modern and up to date. Our intention is to use the same exact gray, which is currently on our siding. So it's like for like, so it won't change at all. The colors are already on our home in the neighborhood. And my third point is that about 40–50% of the people on my street and my neighboring street already have hardy plank. So I think we'll fit right in with what many of our current neighbors are doing with their homes as well.
Okay. Sarah, could you post the application?
Sure.
I was just a little confused as to, it looks like you're wanting to use a smooth hardy plank versus a textured.
It's actually textured. That was a mistake, my fault. It's actually textured hardy plank.
It is textured.
It is textured. He said smooth was hard to come by anyway, but it's textured. That was my mistake.
Okay. Because there were photographs, and I'm not sure if they were photographs of the existing house with the cedar shakes or.
So that's the color. I'm showing you that it's gray.
Okay.
So the reason I'm showing you that's like for like, that's my house, the same gray.
Okay. So my question was, is that what the, that's, I just want to make sure that was the existing house and not the, what you're proposing.
That's my current house, correct. The gray with the red door.
Okay.
That's my neighbors.
All right.
You also have gray. That's my other neighbor. That's me.
Okay.
So I guess that's-
So it's stop there, Sarah. So that siding says smooth gray, but in fact it is a textured gray, correct?
Textured gray, correct.
Okay. Well, that answered the questions that I had. Anybody else from the board have any questions?
What's
The only
the, go ahead, Deb.
The only question I had was, I drove by the house today. Have you already removed the siding?
So I did not know that I had to go to ARB because I only received a notification today at 2 p.m. I was told like for like didn't need it. That was my confusion. And when I filed my application in the end of September, mid-September, I haven't heard anything and my check was cashed. And so my understanding until I got the 2 p.m. notice was that like for like wasn't required. I also submitted my, years ago though, I did my back patio and it was the exact same. And I was told like for like didn't have to go to ARB and I didn't do that either. So because I didn't receive anything, I don't know if notices went out and I just didn't get it. But this was the first time today at 2 p.m. that I ever heard that I had the meeting and I had information that I was on the agenda today.
Well, yeah, I can imagine how confusing that is. So you filed for a building permit and when you went to get the building permit, they didn't tell you that you needed to go before the ARB, or you didn't apply for a building permit?
I think I did apply for a building permit. I went there several times because I was confused and I didn't have the right number of documents. I did ask. At first, I think I asked someone behind the desk and they didn't think I needed one. Ed was busy. He was on vacation that last week in September when I was there. So it was confusing to me.
Okay.
But I believe I did file for a building permit or else, because I have an application, but then I never heard. So I assumed that was just, if I didn't hear anything, I assumed there was no issue. But I never received any correspondence from anyone.
Okay, so the folks you've employed to put up the siding removed what currently was on the house, but they haven't begun the project of putting the siding up, is that correct?
They've started one side, but the front is, they just removed the front today.
Okay, thank you.
And it was raining, so they didn't do very much today.
Quick question, what's the dimension of the hardy plank?
What do you,
Do you know what size, 6 inches or 9 or?
5, 6, 7, 8.
I can look it up. I didn't know it came in different ones. Let me see my application. Let's see. I think 6, but I don't want to say, I don't want to speak incorrectly. I think it's standard. I don't think I even discussed with the contractor that. I think I just assumed it was whatever.
It should say on your paperwork.
I'm opening it up right now.
Okay, great.
Okay, demo existing 7-inch exposure. Hold on. Existing siding, all corner boards, hardy material and Arctic white for the trim. Strict guidance to James Hardy installation. Let's see, hold on.
I think I heard 7-inch exposure.
Is that answer? It says plank siding with 7-inch exposure. Is that the answer? Is
Yeah,
that
that's the answer. So it's an 8-inch.
okay? So that wasn't clear to me.
Do you want to make a note of that, Rocco, just so we?
Yep.
It's honestly the preference. I shouldn't speak for everybody. My preference that it be the smooth.
Oh, okay.
It's if that's what he's purchased and you're happy with it, I don't think we're going to object.
He told me smooth was hard to get and is back ordered, and that textured was the more common one because I had actually asked for smooth as well.
Okay.
He's actually an interesting contractor for what it's worth. He just did Bill and Hillary's house in Chappaqua. If that interests people, it may not. But his point was he has FBI clearance and he's gone through the highest level of security.
All right. Any other questions from the board?
Well,
Just a quick question to Ken. Is that the size you would have selected, Ken, or expected?
it's with these 70s houses, it's pretty typical to have the larger exposure.
I think that's what you're looking at on the drawing as well, right?
I think it's what you're looking at in the picture too.
Yeah, that's what I meant with the picture.
Thanks.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Okay, do I have a motion to approve hardy plank 8-inch hardy plank in the textured gray color?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay,
Aye.
we're good to go. Thank you, Mrs. Hanfield.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so we move on to 20-57, 50 South Buckout Street, sign. Anybody, Sarah? Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. Okay,
So you have our application, obviously. We are a business that's been in this location for 20-some years, and we're changing the business and opening up our doors and doing a retail boutique. It's been a floral design studio for the last 20 years. And so we need more public exposure, and we need to have signage that actually shows people where we are. I'm sure you're familiar with 50 South Buckout. It has lots of, sorry about this noise. I'm gonna move. I'm gonna come here. Sorry, I'm getting into a car. That building has lots of different entrances. So we are needing to put a signage up on the entrance that correlates to our business. We have our landlord approval already, and you have our application for the sign that we want to put up, and we're working with Marty at Sign Extreme that I know does most of the signage in the city, in the town.
okay, Sarah, could you post the application? if you could go down one, that's the sign. That's the corner of the building that it's going to be on, and from the Esther curve, you really can't see that, but coming down from Buckout onto Esther,
Yes.
that's basically the only way the only time you see that sign.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's not. We wish there was a more optimal viewing spot. There just really isn't, given our location. So, with the different options that we had, since that side is going to be where the entrance is, it's really kind of our only option.
They didn't want an option by the front door where you enter?
So there isn't. That was a little bit more of a landlord issue, because that entrance is shared by a couple of other units that are above us. The only thing that we could put right next to the door would be a very small plaque that would be less than a foot by a foot, wouldn't be visible from anywhere. So this, at least, we've walked around the streets, and at least it's something that you can see from the street. You could even, depending on where the wind is blowing, you can kind of see it almost coming from the train station.
Probably seasonally, I would think.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Could you scroll down, Sarah? I don't know if everybody's had a chance to review the application, but there was maybe down is not the right way to go, maybe up. It gives you there's a better view of what it looks like on the whole.
Yeah. There's a wider view. There's a couple of shots of a wider view.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can keep on.
Is the 50 entrance the only entrance?
It's the only entrance to, so our space is we're a corner unit. So that is the main entrance, but we have a backdoor entrance, which is one of my photos, I believe, shows you the corner. So you'll be able to see that, but the backdoor entrance is up where the parking lot is, and that's not going to be the entrance that our patrons will be walking in through.
Okay.
Is there signage at that door?
No, there is not.
That side already has signage for the other businesses on the Buckout Street side.
You're referring to the other side, which is the Eileen Fisher side, I believe. Right. The back door for our business is up the hill, where the parking lot is.
Okay.
So there is one more photo that shows you that corner view in the application.
Could you scroll down, Sarah?
Oh, I see it. Mm-hmm. It's sheet 6.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah, could you scroll up?
Scroll up again.
Yeah, another one if you could.
Yeah, that's where you see it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the only place you see it is pretty much from this angle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I've checked the size of the frontage, and this sign is well within the 25% that they're allowed. The color to me, while the it doesn't match the awning, it does match the building, or close to what
Yes.
the building looks like. And I don't think the size of the lettering, the coloring is going to be that offensive to anybody, but I will ask for comments from the board.
I like the colors. My only question was there any consideration or possibility for lighting, either uplight or something that helps you out a little bit?
Well, I very much appreciate that that sentiment. We would love to do something like that. We weren't sure if that was something we were allowed to consider, because we had heard from others that might not be something that's approvable. But if that is something that you're offering as something we could do, we would love to do that. We definitely can take any of the exposure we can get.
I would first ask the landlord, because
Sure.
the lights are on this side of the entrance doors are pretty innocuous.
Yes.
There's not much there. I would think that he might have something to say about it. But if it's, you know, on a sign that size, if there's one or two, you know,
Mhm.
lights probably above it, because you may block the lettering if you put lights below from this angle.
Sure.
At some point, I mean, as long as they're not, you know, as long as they comply with the new village regulations of you know, not creating any you know, sign what do they call it? Light pollution.
Yep,
Mhm.
it would have to be above the, it would have to be above the sign. Can't be
Okay.
below.
Okay,
So
thank you.
I
Would you-
like the design of the sign. I'm a little disappointed to see it on the building that way. Did you discuss putting it among the boxwoods or along that stone wall on a post?
You know, it's yeah, it's funny that you say that. That is definitely something we have thought about as well, and could potentially give us more visibility.
So that was
yeah.
my one concern. My second concern is I think you need an arrow, because you're gonna, I guess, do you want people to go through the 50?
We do, yes, where you see that awning. Yeah.
Okay, so
Mhm.
again, I think if you put it in the boxwoods, and maybe there's an address or suite or whatever, it just seems, it's like paste, you know, with the building that's down below,
Yeah.
the restaurant, its sign is the building, right? It sort of says that, but
Sure.
here, it's like a corner of the building that you're gonna be a little bit like you're gonna hunt around for this thing. And if you
Sure.
monument, you could even have the 50 on it.
All right. Did you want to look into making some of these changes and come back to us? Because we don't have to. I mean, we have to approve what's in front of us, and
Right.
at this point, you're not at that point yet, are you?
Well, so we are given timing. I would love to take these suggestions into consideration and to make these changes, because I do think that you're offering suggestions that are all very helpful to us. My concern is timing, because we are opening our doors very soon. We're actually opening our doors in 2 weeks. So the sign will not even be ready, even with today's approval, won't even construction wise be ready in time. So I just, if that means that we have to go to another round of an ARB meeting in November, it just pushes us out so far.
We can approve the sign where it is and what it looks like. If you were to take it off the wall and put it into the garden and
Yeah.
light it, that would be an amendment to the you know, a revision to the application, which can be done as a revision. But at this point, the only way we can approve it is the way it's been presented to us.
The only thing I would
Sure.
add too for you to consider is, again, you have to go to Bridge Street Properties to get their approval, but they may allow you to do a temporary sign made of vinyl or something that you can actually adhere to the building. And then it would give you a little bit more time to take into consideration putting the sign, you know, either on a stake so that you can actually get a little bit of lighting incorporated. But, I think not to consider lighting if it's a possibility. You may regret it once you adhere it to the building, which I too am not, I don't find that preferable, because it is a historic building, and to put a sign directly on a historic building is never our first choice. You may want to take the time to see if you can't tweak this a bit.
So two questions for you off of that. For the temporary signage, that's not an issue with Bridge Street Properties. We have spoken to them about that. I was under the impression from the building department that we need your approval for the temporary sign as well. We had not been given approval for a temporary sign at this point. And the understanding I was given was that we would, depending on today's approval, we would also know if we can have a temporary sign until we have our permanent.
Sarah, do you agree with that assessment that we have to approve a temporary sign? I don't recall that being in our purview.
I'm not sure. I would have to talk to Ed.
Yeah, I thought the sign law, I thought I had a copy. I thought that if it was temporary, just like so many others we've seen over the years, that they did not need ARB approval.
That's what made more sense to me. But when I asked, I was told that we do not currently have approval for a temporary sign. from Ed, like from Elisa in Ed's office said that. And that was last
Temporary
week,
sign.
so I figured we would resolve it today.
I don't have the,
You just see if I can find it.
I don't have the
Thank
sign
you.
sign code in front of me.
And maybe you just had, and so the building disapproved any sign by the door, even a small sign with, say, the capital A or whatever, you know, a sort of.
Yes, they do plaques basically by the door. It's those, little bronze plaques.
Yep.
That's essentially the only thing they want to have right by the door.
But
Because
it-
they be able to offer the same thing to any tenant who
Right,
uses that
Right.
door.
that makes sense.
You might want both of them.
Which, yes, the plaque I don't think is an issue. I think we'll do that regardless.
Did they have
But
to show us the plaque, Rocco?
I can't hear you?
Did they have to show us the plaque?
No.
No. I didn't think so.
so, while you're looking at the temporary signage, in
Okay,
terms
so,
of the, oh, yes,
Let me just tell you, just so I don't lose my spot. So
sure.
so I'm looking at the local law
Mhm.
with respect to signs and awnings, and it says under 224-192, signs not requiring a permit. Point 9, temporary signs made of cardboard, paper, canvas, or other material, and as long as you're not exceeding 30% of any window or other surface.
Okay. Okay, so it sounds like as long as we have our landlord approval and we stay within those parameters, we're okay to do that.
Temporarily. Now, you still have the issue of your permanent sign, but
Yes.
if you want, we can continue this matter until next month, and at that point, you can come back with what you want to do permanently, and we can look at it at that time.
So
But in the
there's
meantime-
no option to have a revision looked at without having to wait a full month.
No. Like I said, the application in front of us shows a wall-mounted,
Yes.
that's the only thing we can approve. At this point, I wouldn't want to take the board's time in approving something that may not ever happen. So
The only caveat, Rick, is that the sign law 224 is like four or 5 pages long. So I don't know off the top of my head if there's an exception to the local law that I'm missing here because somehow adhere to this historical building. Do you know what I mean? So I just want to say that.
I know that the temporary sign law states you don't need approval or a permit to put it, but it has to remain temporary also.
Exactly.
It can't be on there for a year.
No, well, we don't want that either. We would have rather been opening with a permanent sign. We'd rather never have a temporary sign. So
Right.
we'd like to keep it there as little as possible.
I didn't, let me just ask a couple questions. I didn't ask this. It's carved wood or it's, what
Carved
the-
wood. Yes,
Carved
it's that, yeah, the carved wood.
So this could be mounted on standards that would sit within the box or, in front of the box.
Sure. Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So the sign itself probably wouldn't
Hypothetically.
change, whether it's
Exactly.
mounted
It's
on the
just-
wall or set in the ground.
Yes.
If we can approve that sign on the wall as you see it. If in fact you want it in the garden or on the ground,
Mm-hmm.
fine, you just come back to us with a revision and take it off. the
Okay,
wall.
yeah, and I suppose that actually, if you're approving the sign itself, we wouldn't have to delay the construction of the sign because I think that takes 6 weeks
Right.
anyway.
That's right, because if
Because-
it's gonna
Sure, okay, that sounds yeah, that sounds like a good solution.
Anybody have any issues with that? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the sign as shown in the application?
So move.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so there you go. And
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too. All right. Now we will go to ARB 20-58, 16 Hillside Terrace, deck.
Hey, everyone.
How you
Can see
doing?
me all right? Good. Mike Martorelli from Michael Lewis Architects, representing the clients, Julia and Stephen Connor.
Okay.
Do you want me to share the screen?
If you have it up already, sure.
Yeah, sure. So it's a pretty simple proposal. We have a roughly 13 by 11 foot Trex deck coming off the rear of the house with a staircase and a landing pad here.
I heard there was a shortage of Trex.
Oh, really?
Okay, could you go down one drawing? It just looks odd that the windows, I guess there are windows that are above the patio at this point? What are those long? I guess we can zoom
Where?
in. Yeah, those.
Yeah, so these are on the existing sunroom here.
Right.
That bumps out.
Okay, those are just windows. They don't open?
They don't open.
Okay. All right. It just looks odd, that's all. Okay, so you're actually cutting into the this facade to put a door?
Correct.
Okay. And I see that we have the information on the door. So are there new footings that are going in?
Yep, we'll have 2 new footings, one here and one here.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
Mike, I always wonder why they put the bring the concrete up. Why did they do that?
I think we just wanted to show it visually, like slightly above grade, but in reality, it'll be pretty close to grade.
Okay.
That was my question.
And you said it is Trex railing. Yeah, it's listed.
Correct. And I can walk you through the color if you need that information.
What color is the house?
So the color of the house right now, let me pull that up, is white. And then the Trex will be, it'll be the Trex Select in color somewhere. Oops, sorry about that. So it'll be the Trex Select in pebble gray with an all white railing.
Okay. Top of the railings?
That'll be white as well.
Okay. Okay, I have no other questions. Anybody?
No.
Okay, I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? We're good to go. Thank you very much.
Thanks for your time. Have a good one.
Good luck.
Okay. Now we're at ARB 20-59, 11 Beechwood Road. We're talking about an addition.
Hello?
Yep,
Hi, you can't see me though for some reason. I'm not sure why.
we hear you.
Can you hear me? There. Okay. Hi, how are you? Stephen Bassini. I'm the architect for Evan and Allison Barth, 11 Beechwood. Thank you for hearing me tonight. So I'm going to share my screen right away. Is that all right?
Sure.
Thank you. So the plan is for an addition to the front of the house. We have gone to the planning board and the zoning board. The planning board, obviously for any type of addition on the house, and the zoning board required an area variance. So the proposal is in this area right here, the front of the house, basically taking this facade, or at least the proportions of that facade, pulling them forward 8 feet, and then continuing this roof line that currently comes up here from the back, continuing it up a little bit higher, split the difference between the 8 feet, and then come back down again, essentially in the same fashion. So you see I have this rendering right below it. As far as the proportions are concerned, it really is almost identical. Obviously, the roof peak here you can see would be higher than what is there now because we pulled it out 8 feet. But the volume and everything is basically just shifting forward. The only thing we did do was we left this front door entrance further back than is here now on the existing to create a little bit more of a covered entry. We took away from the foyer, but we needed to make that work to get a little bit more of a covered entryway. This is only about a 18-inch covered area now. So this is reset back. As part of the proposal, we also made sure that we kept this profile here of this garage pushed back in, and then also maintained the edge over here, which if I go to the elevation, I think you should be able to see if I can share that. You'll see we kept the same side of the house as well here on the east elevation, so that it's not one big gable elevation. We just kept that garage as a small little trimmed out opening basically, so that when you are looking at it from the front, you see a recess here and you see another recess here to give it a little bit more depth, so it's not one long elevation. Part of this proposal would be to also redo the siding and the roofing on the house and the trim. You can see here, as a previous application explains, these old houses, they have the old very large cedar shakes, and they are, you can see here, starting to weather and buckle in certain areas, and eventually they just can't be maintained anymore. The proposal is to do a hardy plank siding. It would be a textured pewter gray, pro gray rather, a textured pro gray siding with an AZEK trim, basically a white 4x4 trim along the corners, and a pewter gray JF Timberline architectural shingle for the roof. So what you'd end up seeing is then this elevation here. So we have the gray on the siding, the pewter on the roof. And then what I'd like to do is on the existing brick here, we're losing all of this brick on the front facade because that's being rebuilt and pulled out. The only remaining brick is really here on the foundation. What we'd like to do is paint that and the remaining foundation stucco that goes around the building a dark gray to complement the gray siding and also the shingle roof. And that would be a complementary dark gray color. You'd see it something like this. I have, let me see, I have that. It would be a complementary, like a hardy color you'd see right here, which is like a dark iron gray. And an example of what that might look like, I have pictures somewhere here of what a siding, a painted brick would look like, something similar to that. I don't know if you can see that.
So it's a matte?
Yes, yes. A matte as opposed to a gloss, you're saying?
Yep.
Yes, it'd be a matte finish, yes. Just to complement the colors and to bring it a little bit more up to date. So obviously not this much brick, but basically the lower portion of that front elevation. Right here, the brick, and it will be hidden a lot by the landscaping as well, but just to get rid of that red brick that's there now. And then of course the rest of the stucco going around the elevation. Here in the elevations in the back of the house, you'll see the same stucco will be the gray as well going around.
Are you going with a drip edge or are you going to stick with the gutter?
No, no, there'll be a gutter. The gutter would be the white K-style gutters, which I have here as a picture. I'm sure you know what they'll look like, but basically your standard white gutter. Right now there's brown leaders and gutters, but that was because obviously of the appearance of the current house, which we will not have anymore, this brown earth tones. So we're going, instead of the white, we're departing on the brown, we're going in all white, which will complement the trim, complement the gray, the dark, the light, and of course the white windows. The proposed windows would be an Anderson 400. We're only putting in a few of them along the front. Here we're taking out this this old bow window. We're putting in a nice picture window, which is the living area, double hungs here. We'd be replacing these two windows as well. And then on the back of the house, we're doing two windows as well, identical, because there is nothing in the back right now currently off the garage. So here, these two windows would be new to mirror the front.
And can you go back to the front?
Sure thing.
And what about the front door?
Front door is going to be a Therma-Tru door. It's a 4-panel double door with an espresso stain on it and black hardware and hinges with a white trim.
You're missing lights.
Lights, you mean lighting?
Lights, yes.
Light,
Lighting.
I don't know if you meant lights like in the door, like as in glass. Lighting actually is going to be recessed underneath. We talked about this with the planning board because I know about the light.
Okay.
So we're going to be recessing a light underneath the ceiling in there and the overhang. So that would not be an issue, and that would just be trimmed out flush. And then as far as the lighting along on the back side of the house, there's an existing light, which is a pewter color over the garage doors, and that would remain. We just take off the escutcheon plate and put the siding and put it back on again, or move the fixture, put it back on.
Are you redoing the foundation plantings?
Yes, we're working with the village consultant. I submitted a round of landscaping with the planning board, did a revised round, but she still would like to have some input. So we're going to be discussing that as far as the permit. Building inspectors involved with that as well to make sure that she's satisfied, because there were some conflicts with what I had as far as deer resistance and what she had. But yes, we are doing landscaping all along the front of the house.
Do we review the landscaping, Rocco?
No, not if the planning board is working on it.
Oh, okay, but it comes back to us?
No.
Okay.
Nope.
And the railings?
And the railings would be a wrought iron railing in the same type of a darker to pewter gray. I'm sorry, I'm going on the wrong thing here. I think I had a little picture of that somewhere, but it's obviously not what we're doing. But yeah, it's going to be very simple. I mean, what's there now, as you can see, is very simple, not very ornate, and that's what we're going to be going with as well, except for now that these stairs are coming out a little bit. There'll be one on this side as well, but it would not be too much different or more detail than what you see here. I know that's not a great picture, but that's the idea. I want to make sure you knew it wasn't going to be very ornate.
Oh, so it starts pretty much at the face of the house, right?
It would be starting, yes, exactly.
Right, okay. I don't have anything else.
Okay. Anybody else?
Is that a skylight?
It is a skylight over the front foyer.
That was added as well.
I'm sorry?
That's new, right?
It is new. Sorry, I didn't mention that, but yeah, that's new. What we have is in that foyer right there, for privacy, they don't really like the lights in the doors, the glass in the front doors. And then that foyer, because it is far from the kitchen, and there's actually in the interior, there's a closet that divides that space from the kitchen, which has lights in the back. It's a little dark. So they'd like to get a little natural light in there. Is that really much way to do that unless we put side lights? And I think then you lose the privacy and you end up having to do that, the textured glass and everything. So yes, that is why the skylight is there.
Might have recommended a square skylight. You know what, the railing, I had two comments. I don't think it's big. You sort of spent an effort modernizing it in a way, making it even more kind of 70s. I wonder about the handrail, which is a little more ornamental than, you've done a very good job of kind of cleaning it up and getting rid of the noise. And I just wonder if you want to do a simpler railing. I think wrought iron's fine, or just maybe it's flat stock, but that railing seems kind of dated and specific to a particular moment of ironwork.
When you say that railing, you're talking about the one that I showed you the image of?
Yeah.
Okay. We weren't.
It's pretty simple. Maybe it's just a curly Q at the end and the shape of the handle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you need something at the end.
Yeah, everything you've done is flat and simple and clean, and I just like seeing that seems a little bit out of character. But if nobody else has any comments, I wouldn't.
Well, I think I know what you're talking about. I think a flatter stock without the profile, that OG profile, I think would actually be nice. Exactly. I think I know what you're talking about. I think I would recommend that. So thank you for the recommendation.
I'm good either way. Okay. Anybody else?
I just keep looking at the skylight. Ken, do you think it should be horizontal? Something
just square. I really like the idea of getting light into the house that way, and bigger is better for me. A good skylight over that. The entrance will really light it up. I'm not so sure, I really do prefer windows on front doors because you can look out and see who it is there, but maybe they're gonna have a camera or something.
A Ring doorbell, yeah.
Okay.
You know, it actually, because of the way the roof slopes, it will look square. I mean, I know that how far that goes.
Yeah,
into
yeah,
the-
yeah.
Sorry, yeah, but
It's not about honestly, it's not about the shape looking at it.
Okay.
It's just the big square skylight over that foyer. Yeah.
Anything else, Deb?
Nope.
Okay, Randy, Mike, you good? Okay, I appreciate the way you proposed it, meaning, you know, how you're comparing one to the other. It helps us a great deal to make a quick and informed decision on going forward, which, in fact, I will do. I will make a motion to approve the application. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Bye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
thanks for your time. Have a great night.
And then we go to ARB 20-60, 55 Ridgeway Drive, a deck. Rogerio, we can't hear you or see you.
Hello?
Yep, we can hear you now. Yep. You muted yourself.
Okay. So my name is Rogerio Franco. Why can you don't see me?
Your cameras, there you go.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, my name is Rogerio Franco. I am an architect representing Eurico Sanchez. And can I share my screen?
Please do.
I'm so sorry. It's the first time that I'm doing this. So I am not able to share the screen because I don't.
No, that's all right. We could put the application up. Sarah, can you do that, please?
Okay, anyway, we are replacing the existing deck. It's where the wood is in a bad shape, so we are proposing timber deck. It's going to be white rail. It's a drink rail, so it's going to be all white, but on the top will be on the wood marine gray. The marine gray will be for the decking and for the top rail.
Go down one slide, please. That's your color? That's your
Yes.
decking and your railing?
That's the color.
Okay.
And the texture.
And the deck right now is what color?
Right now, it's painted like a gray color.
All right. I don't recall seeing any elevations or any photos. Do we have anything in application of photos or to show us what the deck looks like?
I have the existing photos here, everything ready to show you guys, but maybe I can show on the screen.
Yeah, that's not
I don't know if I can show you.
very hard.
Sarah, can you make him a co-host or to be able to show?
He should be able to share his screen as a panelist.
I don't, it doesn't say, show him that. Do you know how to share your screen?
I'm not able to share. I don't see any.
All right. If you put your cursor on the photographs, on the photos or where you see everybody, it should highlight something that says share your screen.
At the bottom.
Here, I'll stop sharing my screen for a second.
Okay.
There's a green button right at the bottom that says share screen.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay. Okay,
You'll
we
be an
have
expert.
photos
You'll be an
here.
expert in no time. Okay.
That's the existing house.
Okay. Is this in,
Yep.
it is.
Yeah, that's the location. 55 Ridgeway Drive. That's the house and that's the deck here.
Okay. What's the housing complex I'm trying to think of?
Field Point.
Is this Field Point?
Yes.
Okay. So then my first question always with Field Point is has Field Point approved the deck and the?
Yes, I have the approval here. Hold on.
You don't have to show it as long as you tell me.
Yeah, that's the approval.
Okay.
Yep, that is a rotted deck.
Yeah. Yep. I'd imagine we'll be getting quite a few of these coming pretty soon. All the complex being, over 40 years old. Okay, so what else do we need to know about the deck? The railing you showed us, the planking, it's obviously not wood. What is
Yeah, it will be very similar to these, but the right color and white balusters over here, square, like 1 by 1.
So it's going to look a lot like this.
Yes.
Okay.
And did we see the steps? Are you proposing a new 3 steps?
Yeah, let me show you. We are not doing the steps anymore. It's here, the floor plan. So we removed the steps that it was here, over here. Here. So we only have the 3 steps here, like we are showing on the pictures.
I'm not seeing anything. I'm still seeing the original
So
deck.
anyway, we don't have these steps anymore. We are going to remove the steps. We'll be railing all the way through here. The only steps that we are going to have is these side steps here.
All right, we need to see the plan drawing.
Yeah, it's here on the plan.
On the left. It's on the left.
So we don't have these steps here anymore, only these
You're gonna have
steps.
to unshare and then share again. Otherwise, we're seeing a gray thing. You have to reshare that picture. Yeah, it's a real pain in the neck. We do it all day long. Rocco, I'm looking at the site plan and it's on the left-hand side adjacent to the house, sort of in the middle of the deck on the left, by where the grill is in the picture that we saw.
Okay.
And it's just, is it a step or is it just an opening? I didn't even know it was steps. It's hard to tell.
We have an opening with 3 steps over there, but we are closing
Yeah,
the
the one
back of the
to the
house,
south,
the
yeah.
steps.
All right. We need to see something different.
Rogerio, all you have to do is up at the top of the screen, it should say sharing. So you can say stop sharing up at the top. There you go. Then go back.
Hit share screen.
Okay. So you want to see the photos?
Just of that, no, of the plan.
Plan. The
plan.
architectural plan.
Okay. So here we don't have these steps anymore.
You're gonna have to share your screen again. Hit the green button. Down at the bottom. Yeah.
Thank you.
Can you see it now?
No. All right. We have that. So Sarah, you want to, Rogerio, stop sharing. We'll have Sarah put it up.
Okay.
Just let me know which page you would like to see.
It's the first one, no, go up. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
So,
Oh, sorry. Just trying to get the whole thing in the.
yeah, on
there.
the left,
All
on
right,
the
yep.
left bottom, you can see the deck.
Okay. I see the change. Anybody else need to see anything else? Okay. Any questions from the board?
Yeah.
I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're good to go.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you, Mr. Franco. Okay, what we're gonna do is call one more time, ARB 20-55, 12 Grinnell Street, fence. Do we have any hands, Sarah?
No, there's nobody here for that application.
Go
We
over and knock on the door.
the only attendee left is Mark.
Okay. All right, well then we will, I'll deem that as a no-show. And the only other thing that I have is just a question, if anybody has any questions or concerns about the two overturns by the village board. If there are any questions, if I can't answer them, I can certainly present them to a member of the Board of Trustees, or maybe Mark can chime in if there's anything that he can add that I can't.
Are we still under the threats of a lawsuit?
That we haven't, well, you know what, now that we've approved the application, we will, Mary Ann's response to me was we'll have to see what happens after it's been formally and officially approved, which it has tonight. So we should hear something, I would think, this week. If not, I will ask Mary Ann to inquire from Mr. Sciaretta what his future intentions are.
I'm sorry, which property was this one for?
To Hancock?
Oh, whether they're withdrawing their lawsuit?
Yes. Well, there is no lawsuit. It's just it was just a freeze on our either emails or text messages that have to do with anything to do with the ARB. Anybody else? I'm sorry, Randy, did you have something, or that was your question?
That was it.
I have significant concerns about the whole process and what's happened. I don't really want to talk to it right now. Having happened, a week ago? And I will address my concerns to the board. I also maybe want to address it to the whole group, this group, our complete panel, when the either our next meeting or, probably our next meeting, if not sooner. Significant concerns about the viability of the board and the historic district guidelines.
Okay.
Given what's happened.
I intend to send a letter to the Board of Trustees with my concerns, specifically about what our charges are. You know, what they expect from us, and why is there overlap, not only in the planning board but in the ZBA. To me, and this is, not speaking out of school, to me, I think the Architectural Review Board should be speaking to the architectural, aspects of the applications. Frankly, one of the Board of Trustees members rightfully commented on what the application looked like before it came to the ARB and what it looked like after the ARB, and it was night and day. And we really didn't make many changes. But in fact, because of who we are and what we do, they made comments about how much better that the property, the application looked. And it was all basically just very simple things that the Architectural Review Board picked up on that nobody else did. And that, to me, is proof positive that needs to be changes. Because, if an application like that comes to us and all we are to do is check the color and the height of a fence, I don't think they need the ARB. Certainly, I mean, it's that type of stuff is, in my opinion, below our pay grade. But I'll leave it at that until I put it in writing to the Board of Trustees.
Well, I think hearing your frustrations is important, because I think it's fair to say we probably all felt the same way. And I would ask and hope that we're going to actually get a decision from the Board of Trustees, something in writing that I assume that legal's going to write. But at some point along the same lines of what you're saying, I think legal is going to have to chime in for us what exactly a site development plan is. And how it relates once it's issued by the planning board to what is received by the ARB, because I think it also is confusing at the moment to the board, to architects, to applicants, that if they submit full architectural drawings to the planning board and that those drawings are approved, in essence, in addition to a site plan being approved, but the way it was articulated, at least in terms of 2 Hancock, is that entire project was approved since it went to the planning board. Then what does the Board of Trustees and its legal counsel say is technically before us when it is submitted to us? Because I think that confusion has been created. And the last thing that we want to do as a board is somehow create confusion for the applicant as well. And I heard what the Board of Trustees was saying. We certainly don't want to make an applicant go through a process again. But if there's ambiguity as to what the planning board reviewed and what is technically before us, I would like to hear what their recommendation is to us as to what our roles and responsibilities are. Because when I look at what a site development plan is, they certainly are supposed to consider architectural aspects and relationships of buildings to one or another. But just because they're approving the general layout of a plan or a configuration of a site, that doesn't mean that they've looked at elevations, in my opinion, and therefore we're not to look at any at all when it comes to us. So I do think it would be very helpful if we all chime in and ask for some more guidance, and in addition, express our frustrations.
Well, I think you should all be aware also that I've been told that back in 1983 or 84, somewhere in that time frame, the ARB, the quality of the ARB was not such that there was enough architectural expertise that the Board of Trustees felt confident in the role of the ARB to make those decisions. Hence, the planning board and perhaps the ZBA were given the ability to pass judgment on the architectural harmony in the neighborhood or the architectural integrity of the application itself. And frankly, at this point in time, I would tend to believe, just based on what happened at 2 Hancock, that we have the expertise and the people to be able to make those decisions solely. Mm-hmm. Now, I know what that's gonna create is the planning board's ability, or they're gonna have to request that this be sent to the ARB before they make their final decision. I mean, for me to go to the planning board and say, me personally, I don't, I think the architectural blah, blah, blah should be different. What's to say they're going to listen to me?
Yeah. Well, your point is valid. I mean, what I agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying is that if there's a procedure, the procedure needs to be clear.
Correct.
To recommend that the ARB look at planning board submissions earlier in the process without telling us the steps that are involved. Do we submit our comments in writing? Does it have to be a majority of the board? Does it have to be before a certain number of days so the planning board can consider it? What's the practice or process if they reject our recommendations? Do we still get to look at it again when it comes before us? There's a lot of unanswered questions. And so simply telling the ARB to look at the plans earlier, to me, isn't enough guidance. And that's really what I would hope that we would ask the Board of Trustees to clarify after the last two decisions. The same is applicable as to the historic district. Whether you're in the historic district or not, I think we need more guidance.
I agree. All right, I think I'll put my thoughts down and have a conversation with Deb to fine tune it, just to put it into
May I make a suggestion?
document.
Rocco?
Yep.
I guess we could call a special meeting of the ARB with the only topic being this, so that we can discuss it in a public manner. And that we have a meeting with the Board of Trustees where we go through these things with them collectively, not just you, Rocco. I don't think it should all be on your shoulders when we have that conversation.
No, I agree.
So-
I was going to send the letter, or the document that we collectively create, send it to them and let them digest it, and then ask for a meeting with Mary Ann involved, because any changes are going to have to be articulated through her to if in fact there are going to be any changes through her, to be able to change the code.
I think that's a good idea. And that's since you're asking for a work session. And, and I would add to listening to the applicant today who came before us, not knowing that she had to appear on the ARB for citing, that's another example that you may want to consider asking the building inspector to be part of the meeting as well. This seems to be now not the first applicant who says, I didn't know that I needed to do this and go before the ARB. That concerns me as well.
Very good point. Okay, anybody else to add anything? Okay, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sarah.
Bye, guys.
Have a good one. Thanks,
Have
Sarah.
a good night. No problem. Have a good night.
Good night.